Whoa. Hello there. How have you all been? Jesus bloody wept. It's been quite a while, huh? Man, I've lived in two houses since we last did a recording. How have you all been? Bloody hell, it's been forever. So let me just quickly mention one or two things. Um, I have started my traveling journey. So I'm speaking to you from the Great Britain on my remote setup that I mentioned a few videos ago. We've got my bloody Steam Deck all set up. That's what we're watching this gameplay on right now. I've got everything's running through the new Prism launcher. I think last time I mentioned something about Betacraft. That was wrong. Apparently it's Multi-MC that was wrong. And then Poly-MC that I was using was wrong. And now Prism launcher is what I use to play Minecraft. It's a fucking mess. It's an absolute mess. Well, anyway, I'm using that. I've got everything running through a capture card, so hopefully this all looks and sounds lovely and normal, other than the mic. I've got my Snowball from like, what, 10 years ago, I think? Strapped up to this thing, and I'll be honest, it's going to be much better than the built-in mic on the laptop. Do you want to hear what that sounds like? Hang on just a second. Oh, hello. Oh god, this is horrible, isn't it? Bloody awful. Alright, look. Let's go back to the good one. Alright, fantastic. Bloody hell, how have you all been? I still need to get around to making an actual video, like announcing and explaining the travel stuff, because I've just not gotten around to it yet. I kind of wanted to do it somewhere like a vlog, like a sort of cool, like a little me sitting somewhere explaining, but I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere on a like construction site, so there's not really anything to record outside, unfortunately, but we'll get around to it. You Minecraft viewers are going to be the first ones to find out, if that makes you feel special, which it should. You should always feel special. That's an important part of life. Anyway, how have you all been? Well, I hope. Keep me all updated. It's been a bloody while. I've not been keeping up with the internet or anything. I've been not even able to really stream. So I'll be the first topic of today. This setup seems to work pretty fine for absolutely everything that isn't like Overwatch, which is fair. I did actually try a really janky bit of Overwatch gaming on it, which went very poorly. My image of gaming on Linux has only ever gotten worse. I kind of thought, yeah, maybe it's not so bad. Like 10 years ago, yeah, fine. You can maybe play like I don't even know, some like WebAssembly game maybe, but I was like, oh, it's 2023. Valve have got something running. I'm sure there's something. I'm sure Linux gaming is fine. Not really. But I'm not gonna go too much into it because I've realised that all my conversations lately have been complaining about operating systems, which is not what you want to hear. I'm gonna be honest. But just suffice it to say that the Steam Deck, as a portable Switch-like device, fantastic. Really happy with it. Sat in the airport for a couple hours, played Spire, super comfy. Lately, after work, I've been just sitting on the sofa, chilling. Got some YouTube playing on my tablet. Just sitting there with the Steam Deck. It's very comfy. As a gaming machine, using it as a desktop replacement, I might recommend that you just buy a gaming laptop. I know I mentioned before all of this, I wanted to save money and not spend a lot, and for whatever £500 the Steam Deck was, it seemed like a good value. If you want to actually replace your desktop machine, or your current laptop, I would not recommend a Steam Deck. There's too many hoops you have to go through to get stuff working. Even basics, like having Discord running, are a nightmare. Like stuff that runs in desktop mode might run fine, depending on how it's feeling. You can always get stuff working through Lutris or Proton or whatever. There's always a way to try and get to an error screen. But yeah, it's not plug and play. I'd just buy a Windows laptop. I'm sorry to say that. I know as like a software developer, I'm meant to be all about free and open source software and yeah, you go Linux package managers, but I'll be honest, just stick to bloody Windows. You can like turn off all the telemetry. You can turn off a lot of it. It's all right. That's what I've discovered. Maybe I've just gotten older, but I care less about tinkering. Like when I was a young'un with a Windows XP laptop. I can't imagine how long ago that was now. I discovered a way to customize the UI in Windows. Like I found a program that let you open up like you remember like the blue bar at the bottom of Windows XP, right? The taskbar or whatever. I found out you could like recolor and draw that in like MS Paint. So I just sat around to customizing my entire operating system. I spent like a few days on it. I had so much fun. And I felt like I was hacking or something, right? Like I was customizing my UI. Remember like custom cursors? I don't know if this still happens, but when I was in school, everyone loved having like custom cursors on their user accounts. So you'd be logging in doing your IT homework or whatever, and you'd have like a flaming bloody mouse cursor. Do you remember that? That stuff was cute. I actually used to make those. So if you remember paint.net, you've probably heard of it. Maybe it's a good Photoshop alternative. Not available on Mac. Sucks. They did or they do. I don't know if they still do. They had like a free software for making icons and mouse cursors and stuff. So when I was in school, I used to like make people mouse cursors. as nerdy as that is, obviously I did, right? But I remember I was really into it, dude. Like I at some point made like a excuse me, sir. It's clipping me. At some point, I made like a cool set of like Zelda cursors and stuff. I made a few different versions. I had one with like I made like a little choo-choo that was dancing. You know, like the sort of blob slime monsters, and like the Wind Waker version specifically. Um, I had one of them like dancing when it was loading, and I think it was like a bow and arrow when it was like a link or something, and that sort of thing. I'm sure there's a much funnier joke I could have made with a link, but ignoring that. I think I was more of a creative child than I realized. Here we go. But yeah, I don't know if any of the rest of you have had much experience with that. I just thought it was really cool, and that's something I used to do. And now here I am doing that, but as a job. Not making mouse cursors, but IT and computing and stuff. Funny how that stuff all works around. Like I think I actually mentioned that as like a plot point at some point, right? A plot point. Is that the right word? In some episode at some point, right? I was like, oh yeah, I remember like the things you do as a kid, they always seem to have a knock-on effect to what you do as an adult or something like that, right? Kinda, right? Kinda. I completely forgot about that until now. My like adventures, like my first adventure trying to like make a game, right? I actually remember this so bloody well, such a vivid memory, right? This was like pre-Game Maker, right? And I've told my Game Maker story before, like how I used to be really into that. I found Blender in like the early 2000s. I want to say it was probably on that Windows XP laptop, if not a slightly older one. I don't quite remember, but I remember finding Blender and finding out that you could make your own games as a person and not just like, Nintendo. And I was just blown away. And I had like all these amazing ideas. Like I really tried to follow a tutorial, but this was like, the early 2000s. We barely had like an internet connection. This laptop could barely start. Like it took minutes just to start. Maybe like 10, 15 minutes. It was slow as hell. So imagine trying to run like 3D rendering software on it and you'll get an idea of how far I got with it. But I think I managed to maybe put like a green blob on the screen. I remember finding like a guide on how to make like fir trees, like the sort of Christmas trees. Or I guess those are pine trees. Because I had like this image in my head. I was going to make like snowboard kids for the N64. I was going to try and like emulate it. So I was going to make like a model for a big like a white slope. And I'm gonna lower some of the graphics just a little bit. Plug this on normal. I thought, I'd make like this big white slope and have some trees on it and have your character on a board slide down it or something. I had like all these ideas. I had no idea what programming was at the time. So I didn't really know how I'd make it so the model would move. I just knew that I wanted them. And I think I was also trying to do this on a trackpad, like one of those really small old laptop ones. The tiny look, like the laptop's this big, like a big square, 4x3, obviously. 16:9 hadn't been invented yet. We all wore an onion on our belt, as was the style at the time. But you'd have this huge fucking laptop, and then the little tiny little plastic fucking trackpad at the bottom. Couldn't even play like The Sims 2 on it, I think. Anyway, that was that. And then I've never gone back to Blender since then. Amazing, right? Amazing how things impact you. Isn't that right, DJ? He's a sweet boy. That young doggo, that heckin' doggo. Anyway, what's the plan for today? Because I promise you, I'm not just going to be talking like non-stop. You know what? Actually, maybe I will. No, we should have a plan. I think let's go on an adventure in some mines. I don't quite remember what we did last time. I'm very sorry. It was a few weeks ago, and I've moved country since then, so forgive me. We were probably building or something. Here we go. Let's. Yeah, look, it looks like we were kitted up for adventure, but we didn't quite make it outside for some reason. That's funny. Forgive me for being lazy, but I am going to be lazy here. We're just going to dump all our stuff in here. We need to get a bunch of torches and maybe fill this up with some water, and then I think we're about good to go. Let's grab some coal as well around here somewhere. We've got one of these. Come. Oh, really? Oh, actually, upstairs we were cooking a bunch of coal, weren't we? Let's go have a look. I don't know to what extent I'm able to edit these on, by the way. I don't have my normal Sony Vegas, because this is a Mac, and I don't know if that runs on it. Maybe it does. Maybe I'll check after this recording to see. Here we go. That's more than enough. I only need like a little bit. I just want like a stack, because then it makes things a little easier. Stacking a bit. Sure, whatever. That's fine. Just like that, and then we can keep the rest of it on us. Perfect. Let's just dump this stone and go. We need to get a bunch of iron. Some like diamond can probably hurt, right? Just some stuff. Metal and stuff. Here we go. Perfect. All right. Sorry, I just probably made a horrible sound into the mic. I'm used to my like 80 bloody 2020 or whatever, where I can sort of make noises and they don't really get picked up. Can't really do that with this. I think this snowball was a bit odd. Like it's perfectly fine considering how portable it is. It does the job. You know, it saves me an awful lot of money on buying another one. Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. I've completely forgot. Oh, here we go. Look, next topic, right? So I said I can't really stream. And it's not because of the hardware. It's because of the bloody internet. So where I'm staying, I have like an upload speed of maybe 1 to 2 megabit up. Which, if you don't know much about upload speeds, which is fine, most people don't need it. That's very slow. That's extremely bloody slow. Oh, I didn't bring a shovel. Whatever. It's absolutely slow as balls. I usually, on my main machine, I would stream at 6,000 bitrate, which is about 6 megabits up per second. Forgive me if I'm not using the right terminology between megabits and megabytes and mega nipples and all that. Bloody, there's so many different words, and none of them matter. They do matter, actually, quite a lot, because you'll see that your bloody hard drive is meant to be 1,000 gigabytes, but it's actually 1,000 gigabits or something rubbish like that. Anyway, none of it really matters. Just buy another one, right? Stinky manufacturers. Always lying. Anywho, I normally need at least 6 just to be able to upload, but you actually want a bit more than that. You want like a buffer. So if, you know, honestly, OBS just doesn't just output 6,000 kilobytes, or 6,000, is it kilobytes? It must be kilobytes. Whatever, 6,000 bytes a second, 6,000 kilobytes. I'm losing my mind. Whatever, 6,000 units of speed of computing power, of computing storage medium up to Twitch. It doesn't. Oh, good fucking lord! It's Phantom Ganon. Scary. I haven't heard that sound in a very long time. It doesn't just put out 6,000 whatevers. It puts out a range. Like it's a variable bit rate, and sometimes it'll go a little bit up. Sometimes it'll go a little bit down. You know, maybe it'll even dip into 7,000 at some point during like a black loading screen or something or whatever. I don't know. So you need like a bit of a buffer, maybe of like a couple of megabits up. Let's say 1 or 2. And then that's assuming no one else or nothing else is using the internet on your system. If you happen to, you know, have other people in the house that want to, I don't know, like use the internet, maybe they're trying to send like a WhatsApp image to someone, that uses upload too, and your router splits it between the two. So you might be there streaming on, you know, let's say you have 8 up, you're streaming using about 6 of those. The rest of 2 in that buffer is used up by your friend or whatever, and it might actually go a bit more. So they might actually dig into your upload, and suddenly your stream collapses in quality, or you drop frames for a bit. So you actually need quite a big buffer. I'd say like 20 up, 15 to 20 up is like a big enough buffer that you will not have to worry about it. We lived in a house, we had like 50 up or something, because it didn't really cost anymore. And at that point, you can have 2 people streaming at a time without an issue, which is kind of cool. I think we did that like once or twice. Just the 2 of us. If you have a family, bloody hell, good luck. Anyway, this place is 2. And it's also in the middle of a bloody nowhere, and I'm in a foreign country. And well, anyway, moving on. I tried streaming off a SIM, which kind of works. Like 4G here is closer to like 8. It's 6 to 8. So like that's actually not a bad option. I know that there's like IRL streamers probably run around with 4G while they're doing their IRL streams, right? So I've considered that an option. And I actually did a... Oh, the audio's going a bit weird down here. Did the audio just break? That's weird. That's on my end. That's not the recording. I think we went so far down the bloody Linux audio engines just gave up. That's an interesting bug. Anywho, well, 4 bloody G. Because I'm using a foreign SIM, because I'm, I have a Dutch SIM basically. I forgot to bring water, whatever. I'm able to just switch providers instantly. Like, I can use my phone setting, and I can try out 3 and bloody O2, Vodafone, that lot. So I gave them all a go, and all of them were bloody awful. They were like actually worse than the Wi-Fi, which I guess kind of explains things. Except for 3, which seemed to be fine, and isn't owned by Branson, so I'm happy about that, Mr. Virgin Media guy. So moving on, I did a trial stream on that. I cut down my quality from 6,000 to 3,000, I think, which is what I actually used to stream on back in the day, or maybe 3,500. That used to be like the default on Twitch and Justin TV for quite a long time. Like 6,000 and stuff is quite a recent thing, in my mind at least. Very high quality in comparison, and still way lower quality than just like a recording. Like this video you're watching now is probably like 10 to 20,000 bitrate, let alone 6. So it's hilarious how big of a difference it is between video recording and streams. You can probably notice at some point I must have recorded videos and forgot to set the bitrate up for the recording, and you can probably see that like lower quality. It's a real thing. Bitrate matters so much more than resolution. Oh my god, some of you have just fallen asleep, haven't you? Has he just been talking about fucking resolution and video settings for like 10 minutes? Yes, I have, and I will continue to, because that's my target audience, is myself. I am my target audience. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. It's offline, you can't tell me. You can only tell me when the video's up, if I can upload it. That's an issue I'll have to deal with, I guess. Anyway, 4G seemed to work, cool. Tried to buy a bloody SIM. Turns out we live in dystopian state. The UK is a dystopian fucking state. You need a credit check to buy a SIM card. A credit check is I don't think they have them in the Netherlands. Maybe they do, but like it's basically like an automated system from like Xperia or whatever. I don't remember. They like check to see if you're okay at paying stuff back, and normally you get credit. Your credit score goes up. Like it sounds like bloody China a little bit, doesn't it? You have like the social score. It's actually not too far off because it affects your ability to like buy houses and stuff like getting a mortgage. And Sims apparently. So the first time it succeeded, it was like, yeah, your credit score's fine. So I was like, poggers. So I tried to order it. They couldn't find my flat, and the bloody checkout crashed. And I was like, bloody hell. So I filled out the entire form again, did the credit check again to get this SIM card. Like it's 19. Jesus wept. Who are you? Why are you so frightened? Are you in here, maybe? One of those dirt zombies. Hang on just a second. There's some... Is this a dungeon, maybe? Do you all just get frightened by, like, sounds in this game? Anyway, I tried it again, and I bloody failed it. It failed my... Like, must have, like, something ruined my credit score. Like, just getting it checked or something. Or failing. Failing to buy a SIM maybe dropped it. I don't bloody know. I didn't say, like, thanks David Cameron and, sit up and down 48 times in a chest while rubbing my tummy or whatever it is the bloody government asks of you these days. I don't know. Probably something like that. Spooky noises, go away. I'm trying to explain credit score to my very awake audience. God, what have I turned into? I used to talk about, like, weapon balance in a fucking first-person shooter. Now I'm playing an old version of Minecraft and talking about credit rating, bitrate. Well, that aside. Failed it. I tried to do it again a third time, failed it. We tried to get Chris to buy one, just because she wanted one, not just that I wanted to use one in her name. And she failed it as well, so I gave up. I was very sad. Oh, the audio broke again. No, it's back. Okay. Weird. Linux, huh? Why is the frame rate down here so bad? It's usually quite good in corridors. That's weird. Anyway, failed it, and I was kind of sad. But then I found out that there's like a bloody, like, those like hipster, like millennial corporate art bloody companies where everything's like pastel colors and like blocks of solid color. No textures or gradients here. I don't want to freak anyone out too much. All right. Here we go. There's a company like that sells the sim I want without a credit score, so I bought that, and it should be arriving over the next couple of days, and I'll try it out, and I'll let you all know if it works. Because I'm here for like over a month, and the idea of basically just sitting in this room every evening kind of frightens me. There's not really much to do, and that's perfectly fine. I can survive without anything to do, but like, as someone who's been trying to maintain a Twitch channel for like 10 years, it's really bad to not stream for over a month. People forget you over Christmas. Like, you know, I'll leave for a week and I'll have lost like a few regulars, and you know, that happens for enough years, and then suddenly you're where I am. So 6 weeks is a long time in terms of the internet. I might as well have been, you know, buried underground or something, I think some people think. Which is a bit sad. And also, I want to have something to do. I'm currently working, like I've moved my shift half an hour early, because the Dutch time, I'm still working for my company. They are an hour later. So I shifted myself half an hour earlier so I can sort of line up with them a bit better. Like a middle ground. So now it means I finish at like 4:30. So I've actually got quite a fair bit of day. Like right now it's 5:30. I've been recording this video with my spare time. Which I'd like when I'm happy doing. But I would also like to stream in this time, because otherwise I'm just basically sitting here playing games by myself, and I don't know why it does that. I've done something odd to myself where I like just can't enjoy time by myself. I need to like constantly record and like tell other people about it, and I don't know why. But I'd feel happier sitting here playing games in a room by myself all day if I was streaming. I don't know why, but it also kind of tickles me a bit, because it'll be a bit like when I was full-time streaming, like 4:30 to when Chris gets back, which is very late. That could be like a 5-hour stream or something. Whether or not I'd actually do that, or whether or not I'd want to do that, is another point, but the option that I could invariably basically just stream all day, that excites me. That keeps me going, and I want to do that. So I'm hoping this sim thing works out. It's unlimited. It was like £20, which I think is really cheap, and I'm a little cautious about it. But it seems to have good reviews. Like Witch liked them. There's a UK review board called Witch, which, you know, you can't trust 100%, obviously. You should always use different sources, but I somewhat trust them. If Witch likes something, I'm normally not too totally against it. They have a good review board, I reckon. And if they like it, it can't be too... can't be a phishing scam at the very least, I think. So anyway, moving on. I hope that works out and I can just stream. Even if it's in like a lower quality, I'll lower the resolution to compensate and play slower games. So, I mean, back on that resolution thing, because this might interest some of you, especially if you're into like video recording. But for a few years, I stupidly streamed everything in 1080p 60 FPS, like an idiot, with like 5,000 bitrate. And that, you might think, oh, that sounds like good quality. You streamed at 1080p 60, that's incredible. What lovely, everyone always streams at like 720. And I was like, yeah, my computer can handle it. It couldn't, but I pretended it could handle it. But CJ, who you might remember, CJ, I don't even know, what he play, like medic or something, the TF2 guy, CJ, he has a turtle called tortoise, called Taco, I think. I like CJ, he's nice. Anyway, he, being the big old classic streamer he is, I think his advice was always to stream at a lower resolution, and I just didn't bloody get it. And then I like did more research into it over the years, and I found out that it's like, oh shit, yeah, like bitrate is the thing that matters. The number of bits you've got dictate the quality of your stream. That was bloody terrifying, by the way. But like, you know, if you stream 1080p 60 versus 720p 60 at the same bitrate, the 720p video looks better. And you might be thinking like, what the fuck? Surely higher resolution is better. I don't understand. It's because of compression, basically. Like 6,000 is actually very low. You have to fit so many bloody millions of pixels into such a small stream of data. And the way your computer does that, or the way, you know, the H.264 algorithm has historically done it, is to block out color and use stuff like keyframes. So I think that the normal thing you used to do on Twitch, and probably still do, is set a keyframe of like 2 or something. So every couple of frames, there's a special keyframe where the quality is basically, the quality for the next couple of the quality of the next couple of frames is kind of based on the difference to that first keyframe, if you understand. I think I'm describing this properly. If I'm wrong, forgive me. It's been a while. But keyframing is, pretty basic stuff, right? If you have say you're just streaming what I'm looking at right now, right? If I were to wait for a few seconds, the bitrate would actually catch up, and you'd see pretty close to what I've seen on screen. Because of encoder magic. It would block out bits of grey, or block out bits of brown, and it would just all look nice. But the moment I start wiggling the screen around like this, things start getting really crushed. It's like, how the heck do I do this? What the heck am I doing? And in order to fit all that movement on screen, because when you do this, every frame you're rendering is very different to the keyframe. Whereas if you're moving slowly, what am I describing? I don't know if there's much point in me describing this because I'm doing it so poorly, but I'll just skip to the end because that's the important bit. When you have a lower resolution, there's less pixels to crush. So the pixels individually end up looking nicer. How about that? Does that work for you? Like if you only had a really small picture, or a really small resolution of like 320p or something, 360p, and you tried to crush that into 6000, you'd maintain more of those 360p frames, right? I think I've explained that well enough. Anyway, there's like oh god, the audio just, Jesus fucking what? Sorry, the audio just fucking exploded. That was horrible. Just Minecraft, by the way. I haven't had that experience with anything else. I'll see if I can fix it, but you probably just had an awkward like cut there because no way I'm leaving that in. Anyway, TLDR, there's like, there's a sweet spot on Twitch for high resolution, because if you're playing a game that's really slow, like Slay the Spire, or if you're playing Minecraft and you're just looking at like one thing, like this, you actually have quite a bit of leeway. You can crank up the resolution. So you can actually use, like, I forget the exact number, but it's like 896 pixels or something. Instead of 720p or 1080, it's sort of in the middle, and it looks good. And it's a multiple of 2, I think. So that's why it works best, apparently. The H.264 compression and a lot of compression split stuff into grids on the screen. So if the resolution that you're streaming at is on that grid, it'll look better. Whereas if you were to just stream directly in like 900p, it looks worse. Although maybe it's not multiples of 2, maybe it's multiple of 8. Anyway, you get my point. Anyway, just to bring it back to the original topic, I streamed Slay the Spire in like 3000 bitrate, which you'd seem, sounds kind of low. It actually looked really good, because Slay the Spire is a slow, like, card game. There's not much movement on the screen, so the compression has like a really happy time just making everything look beautiful. It has so long to get that background looking perfect. And then the only little bit of movement you get is like a little card across the screen or whatever. Not an issue. So as I was just basically trying to tie it up to, regardless of how decent this sim is, as long as it's a couple of megabits, I can just stream slower paced stuff for like, the next month or something. Slay the Spire, programming, that sort of thing. Especially even like programming, right? Like, resolution matters the most with text. So if you're doing programming, it's literally you're looking at a bloody text file on the screen. That's when you'd want a good resolution. And for that, you can just lower, the frame rate of the stream, you can raise the bit rate, you can do all sorts. And it should look good. And you won't really notice dropped frames if it's in a bloody text file anyway. Whereas if I were to record this video and it jutters a lot, it would look really weird because I'm walking around a 3D environment. So there's a lot I can do, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to have fun. And speaking of having fun, I managed to get Osu working, which I was a bit worried about. I had some complications with it. So Osu's a rhythm game. You've probably seen it somewhere. It's the one with all the circles that you click on, basically. There is a new version coming out called Osu Laser, which has native Linux support. Which I thought that would be perfect, right? It just doesn't bloody work on the Steam Deck. Every other bloody second, it just stops, and like there's all sorts of rendering issues I've had with it. I'm sure they'll get fixed. I have faith in Peppy and his team, but will get fixed isn't good enough to play on. So I ended up spending like far too long installing different versions of like the Windows version of it, and eventually I got it working. And it runs fantastic. I actually think it might run better than my Windows install, but that could also just be placebo effect from how bad Laser was running. But like once you do a couple of little hacks here and there, you can set the audio latency to be like imperceivably good. It's fantastic. Excuse me, sir. Which is great for a rhythm game, and I've been enjoying myself. The only real issue is that my sir, excuse me. This is what I get for not playing an FPS for so long. The only real issue with it is that my screen is like only 15 inches, like this little portable one I bought. So far, very happy with it. I kept mentioning I was frightened it was going to break. So far, it hasn't. I'll keep you posted, but it's like an Asus 144 hertz little 15-incher. You'll find it. It's the only one in existence, I think, right now. The market that really needs more products, I'll be honest. It's just Asus making high refresh rates portables. You need that. We need competition. The prices are too high. All right. Anyway, happy with it. Just the size is a bit small. I didn't want to lug around the 17-inch one either because I'm traveling, obviously. But it's a bit small, so currently I've got it stacked up on a like microwave tray, like like the metal trays that some like microwave ovens come with, that are circular and they spin. I've got it sitting on that, propped up on some like plastic to kind of have it a bit more to my eyesight, which is fine. I will live with it. It's only a short time. I originally had it propped up on a box of Weetabix, like a cereal box, which was kind of working, but it was annoying because in OSU I like to rotate my keyboard around. And it being a big box of cereal meant that I just couldn't bloody do that. So this microwave dish thing seems to work pretty well. It's quite funny as well, but it works as a stand. Apparently you can just screw in any old like camera monitor or camera mount to the back. It's like a standard thread. But I don't know any camera mounts that are at a 90-degree angle and affordable. This microwave thing was free, so we'll see. Ideally, I could have this monitor right up in my face to make up for the size of it, because it's still 1080p, you know. The refresh rate's nice, the colours are fantastic. IPS, by the way. I feel ruined. My normal, like, 240Hz, nice big thing, is a TN panel, which is, like, traditionally the only tech you used to see in gaming monitors, because you can overclock it or whatever. You can have, like, a high refresh rate on it. Not so the case anymore. You can get a high refresh rate on OLEDs now. For much less than £1,000 million, which is cool. One day I'm sure I'll have something like that when I own a house and a dog and all the other stuff that I need to spend money on first before an OLED monitor. They look so good, dude. I love OLED. Blacks, so nice on them. Colors, beautiful. Input latency, Pixels all having such a low response time is such a cool. Anyway, sorry. I like hardware, okay? Anyway, this is an IPS panel, which is nice. It has good angles, great color accuracy. It's good for my work as an app developer. Like, the color I see on the screen is the same, pretty much, from what I can expect, the same color to the phone, which is about all you can ask for. My first company, I was just using my gaming monitor for color grading, and it's just nothing fucking lined up. And color grading is something you just never think about. Especially if it's not part of your job. But like, you'll design a button to be blue, right? You'll pick a really nice blue, you think this looks great, and you'll look at all these different contrasts, how the different parts of the UI line up, and you'll design it, and then you'll put it on an actual phone. And A, you'll notice that every phone shows those colors in a slightly different way, and B, you'll see that like the Pixel or the iPhone or whatever just looks completely bloody different. Are you alright there, dude? He fucking loves the Pixel. Oh my god. Pixel 3, that was my favourite phone. That's what he's thinking. Creeper back there is using a OnePlus 7, and this guy... Oh god, that guy... Oh god, really? A BlackBerry still? Yeah, but this guy, he loves iPhones. You can see it in his face. The iCloud, he loves it. Alright. Anyway, iCloud aside, it's kind of weird talking in after so long. Like, I don't know, it's weird. It's like a muscle with doing commentary. The more you do it, the easier it gets, but then the moment you start to take a break, it's sort of slightly harder it gets. Hello, sir. I'm just going to let you sort of sit there. Oh, maybe not. Just a little frightening. I'm just exploring for more, like, iron and stuff. How are they down there? Oh, they're just down there. Let's make sure we haven't got too much crap in our inventory. Oh, we've actually got quite a lot of cool stuff. Hang on. I'll use that. I'll replenish my... Oh, this is quite a successful trip. I should have done more of these. Let's just, like, put these wherever. Combine that. Let's chuck some of this, like, string and bones and feathers and random... Don't need all this, like, cobblestone and dirt and stuff. Alright, that should be fine for now. Let's move on. I'd like to maybe do some Minecraft streams, actually. I've been watching Watame stream Minecraft, and I'm thinking maybe that could be a bit fun. Like, if I make this like my recorded series, as you like, this sort of podcast, maybe it'd be nice to stream some more like modern Minecraft, just for a bit of fun. If I need something to do for the next while, I imagine that'll take up quite a lot of time. Like, there's so much I just have no bloody idea how it works in the new game, or the current version of the game. So that could be fun to like actually explore, because whenever we play on a server, it just turns into like someone else does the content like instantly, or like, you know, we do the content instantly. Like it takes 2 seconds, and everyone else knows exactly what they're doing, and we just have no idea. Like we did End Cities last time we played it. I kind of had fun. I was like, oh, this is new content. But we did it so quickly, and we didn't spend much time there. And then we went back to building, and like Cake immediately built a bloody super castle, and I felt small because I just made a tree, and I thought the tree looked really good. Building natural looking stuff is difficult, you know. But I was immediately like, what am I doing here, dude? I can't fucking compete with this. I don't know. I wonder if Tommy's server's still on. We'll have to see. If not, maybe we'll have to just make it single player. I don't know. I like multiplayer stuff, but we'll see. Eventually we'll be in Australia, as I said, so the multiplayer aspect might be a bit difficult, but with stuff like Minecraft, I mean, who cares, right? You can have a high ping, or you can live 11 hours apart. It doesn't really matter. Where am I? There must be more to mine. I kind of wanted to get like a couple of stacks of iron, because I remember we were running out of stuff like train tracks, and we needed more of those. I never want to have to use another bloody stone shovel ever again. Let's just make our way to somewhere new. We go through a wall. I hear some water in this direction, I think. Let's go check it out. But yeah, that's me. Those are my plans. How have you all been? Well, I hope. I'm experiencing, like, sort of student life again in a way, just because of the fact that we're in, like, a new flat that came with nice furnishings. Like, it was much, much better than expected. I'll be perfectly honest. It's like a little studio flat we're in. Has a shower, has a little kitchen, has an oven, has a hob, which is more than I think a lot of flats I was even looking to live in originally had. But it's missing like a lot of the stuff in it. Like it's come with knives and forks and like that sort of thing, but it doesn't have didn't come with like, you know, any cleaning supplies or any like dish soap or sponges, like the stuff you never think about. But all of a sudden you're like, how the hell am I meant to clean my bloody dishes? You just have to do it with water because we haven't bought that stuff yet. We haven't had a chance. Everything's like, this is the north of England. I don't think I specified that, but we're in like the north of the UK where everything's like a car drive away. We're not in like a major city. So walking to the shops is like a whole fucking thing. That's like an adventure you have to be up for. And we just haven't had the time to go more than a couple times. And when I've gone, I've just bought absolute essentials like, you know, food. And bloody hell, there are some good deals these days. I'm aware that we're meant to be in a cost of living crisis or something, but the UK food prices are so much bloody cheaper than the Netherlands. It's absolutely insane. Like I mentioned Weetabix earlier, right? I got 72 blocks of Weetabix. These like bricks of wheat that you have for your breakfast. It's really tasty, despite just being wheat. I must have spoken about it before. Oh, hang on. Alright, the audio did the thing again. This entire box was like £7. It was so bloody cheap. It's insane how cheap it was. What are you doing? You know what, dude? You can stay up there. Little scared. Oh, there you are. He dropped my frames. He spawned a thing after he died. Alright, we've only got 2 breads left, so we should always leave when we run out of those. I heard someone fall. God, there's so many zombies and stuff. This is quite frightening, isn't it? There are people down there, actually. People. Villains, monsters. Oh, gold's gone forever. Oh, well. Anyway, really cheap. In the Netherlands, I know it's an import, but like, you know, 12 Weetabix or 24, like a small box is like $3.50. So it's a multitude cheaper. I got like, okay, this is really sad. The place doesn't have any sort of coffee making things. It just has a kettle. And I didn't bring my AeroPress with me. So I was like, oh, it's only 6 weeks. Plus, I'm sure there's something. There was nothing. So I'm living on instant again, like I'm a student. It's so sad, but I got an enormous like 6 weeks worth of instant coffee for like I don't know, £5 or £6 as well. Yeah, it was super bloody cheap. In fact, that might have been the thing that was £7. Maybe the Weetabix was like a fiver. I don't know. Anyway, groceries are still cheap, and it's hilarious how there's no tomatoes because of like it's not Brexit. We promise it's not Brexit. Just because we only had a trade deal with 2 countries. But yeah, no, I'm impressed by like food being so cheap. So I've been enjoying just like buying basic stuff and living like it's a new start. Going and buying like olive oil and shit. It's cool. Like I felt like I was putting together like a little kit for my kid, except it was me. I went and bought the absolute essentials that one person could buy. So I bought like a loaf of bread. I bought some butter. I bought salt, pepper, olive oil, and chili flakes because I was thinking if there's only 3 things spice-wise you need to cook with, salt and pepper are a given, and I thought chili flakes are quite a versatile thing. If I were to have like 2 more, maybe I'd get like paprika and garlic powder. That's my take. I don't know. Some of you maybe have a different take. Would you take like a cumin or a dried herbs or something? What would be your like bug out bloody bunker? Just moved into a new flat and need cooking supplies sort of gear. Because that's what I got. I feel like it's not too controversial. Like we're only here for a short time, so instead of getting a big olive oil, I got like a little one that has like garlic infusion or something. So I thought that's also versatile. I can do a lot with that. I got that. I got some like pre-cut like stir fry boxes of vegetables to be healthy because we haven't really eaten much lately. Got some like fresh egg noodles. Kind of missed that stuff that you think is everywhere but is not. Oh, the stuff I used to eat as a student, I always just took for granted. I was like, every country must have this. Just seemed to be the UK, at least the Netherlands doesn't have a lot of it. So I was enjoying like almost being nostalgic, thinking, I remember I used to buy this sort of stuff. It was cool. I got like, a bunch of bananas, get some oat milk, some Weetabix, the good stuff. We'll be going back soon, I'm sure. We need to get like, you need bloody washing up liquid. I remember when I was younger, I thought maybe you don't need it. But, as Peep Show has famously said, have you ever tried washing up the dishes without dishwashing soap? It's bloody impossible. You need to buy some of these, it's not a pyramid scheme. Yeah, I've been rewatching Peep Show as well. I don't know what it is about the UK. Whenever I come here... Oh, my sword just broke. What did I throw it? I don't know. But whenever I come back to the UK at, like, Christmas, I always feel like I need to watch Peep Show. I don't know why. It's odd, right? But I do, so I've been watching that. It's aged fine, honestly. I always think in my head that it's probably a lot worse than it is. Maybe some of the jokes have staled over time, but I feel like every time I watch it, it's a little better. And it's definitely, like, still really hard to watch. Like, if you don't know what Peep Show is, it's like an old... Is it... What would you say, like a comedy? It's a comedy written by David Mitchell and Ross Webb. From that Mitchell and Webb look fame. And, comedy, British comedy. We love David Mitchell. I think he's on QI sometimes as well, and like some of those sort of British shows. But I've been rewatching it. It's like a point of view, real life, episodal sort of thing. Like it's a series. But like the gimmick is that the camera angles are all shot by the actual like actors. Like in season 1 and 2 at the very least, they literally have a camera strapped to their head when they're talking. So like when one character's talking, you see it from the other character's perspective, and it's a fun gimmick. It's good fun. But like, good bloody lord, is it cringe? It's so cringe. And like that's the point of the show. Like it's meant to be really awkward, like slightly more like not 100% real life, but it's meant to be more relatable TV than usual series. Just like really benign, boring, basic shit that you just take for granted. And that's, I guess, what passes as English TV, as like great English TV. It's very funny. Being bullied by like kids on the way back to your flat for having a clean shirt, that sort of stuff. One of my many fears is being bullied by teenagers. I find them so frightening, dude. When I was a teenager, I had no issues. I was like, hello, other teenagers, how's it going? But now as an adult, I just find them fucking horrifying. Like, they have no morals, but they're big enough to probably carry, like, weaponry, right? they could probably hit you with like a biro or something, or throw a spoon at you and do some real damage, I reckon. And they're in like that weird stage of like puberty where they're like sort of like grown adults and they could really probably hurt someone, but like mentally they're still children, so they have no fucking idea what's wrong with attacking a member of public. And that's why teenagers frighten me. Like little kids, I don't know. If there's like a lot of them, maybe I'm frightened because you can't really hit little kids back. That's usually a no-no. You can't just like punch them. I think if you punched a teenager, people might be... They might think it's not so good, but they can probably see why. But if like a 10-year-old comes up to you on a bike, you probably can't just hit them, right? It's probably not good. Anyway, I think teenagers are scary. Is that just me? It's probably just me. I'm not that old, right? I just had my birthday last month. I'm solidly in my middle of my 20s now, at 25. And they frighten me, the young'uns, the people that are 10 years younger than me now. It's a weird thought sometimes. Like, it's not that long ago that I was amongst them, but in terms of, like, percentage of my life, it is, because I'm still quite young, I think. You know, it's a good third of my life ago that I was amongst them. Yet, obviously, 10 years and another 10 years is not going to feel like much, so we'll see. It's weird. You never know where you're going to bloody end up. You tell me when I was 15 that I'd be traveling across the bloody world with a bloody small portable PC, doing work for a Dutch company and buying olive oil and talking about it while playing Minecraft. You just can't explain the present to your past self. It's always so much weirder than it seems. All right, I think we're out of bread now, so as I mentioned, that's probably a good time to stop. I didn't see any diamonds, so I'm just gonna be smart, you know? No point risking all these biscuits. We've got a couple of stacks of iron, got a little bit of gold, bit of redstone, loads of coal. Just stuff we need, you know, the basics, the sort of salt, pepper, and chili flakes. How are you lot on, like, spice, by the way? Like, I think, here's my, like, hot tip to students. If you want to add, like, instant flavor to things for 0 effort, chili flakes, dude. Especially if you've never really done spicy stuff, even like the smallest amount will make everything taste like something. Which, when you're basically just probably, cooking a carbohydrate and vegetables, makes a big difference, you know? Spice, I like. And, you know, the more you use, the more you build up, so you can start using more exciting spices. Maybe you can try, you know, adding like real big peppers to it, so there's like a little bit of heterogeneity, you know, every now and then you'll get like a big bite of spicy, and then you add something soft, and it's nice. It's just like a little trick. Generally, spices, like, they're not something frightening, right? I've always experimented with them. I always want to try and find, like, some fun combo, like, what works with what doesn't work. I've definitely, over the years, overspiced and underspiced. You know, I've added the wrong kind of paprika or whatever, and what you need to learn is that there's no wrong spice. If you aren't sure if, like, this little pot of something is going to work in your dish, do you know what you can do? You can, like, smell the dish, and then you can smell the spice, and you can think, does this go together? And if you're not sure, you can, like, put a bit on a spoon, put, like, a little spice on it, and then think, hey, that does work, or no, that doesn't work, that's stupid. It's that easy. You just try it. Just give it a go, see if it's good. And if it's good, remember, and then next time you can be like, oh, shit. Yeah, you know what? Paprika fucking does go on everything. What an amazing spice. I love paprika. Thanks, Woolen. If you've never had paprika, by the way, go on. What are you playing at? Go give yourself a little bit of the old pea, bit of the old spicy pea. No, paprika, just being like dried bell pepper. I think it's so tasty. Garlic powder is nice. It's funny. There's like so many. Move back to you too, brother. There's so many different ways to not skin a cat, but there's so many different ways to skin a cat, and they all taste slightly different. Like a bell pepper tastes very different. Where the fuck am I? Hang on, I'm thinking about skinning cats. Can I put this on fire and actually see where I am? This is pretty. Oh, hang on, I remember this. Do we live like over there, maybe? I don't remember. I don't remember the coordinates of our house, but maybe we need to cross this sand. We might be over there. I can't... My brother, Moo. Is that Dong Mountain? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I was right. Amazing. Sorry about the flashing. But yeah, spices. Just try stuff out. But yeah, like you can have a bell pepper. It tastes kind of sweet, like a little wet usually, because I've normally washed it and put it in right at the end of something. But very mild, crunchy. You have dried paprika, just regular old paprika powder. Sort of just like a nice, as like a little sweetness, bit of red shade, because you eat with your eyes, you know, something looks good. It's usually makes it taste a bit better, and I think a bit of red dye on your food actually is quite nice. You have smoked paprika, which adds a bit of, you know, smoky earthiness, bit of something to it, but maybe a little barbecuey, if you can think about it. There's like hot paprika that has a little bit of cayenne pepper in it, usually. Adds a little bit of extra zing to it. It's awesome. There's so many different ways. And like garlic as well. It's such an incredible bloody allium? Is it in... Hello, Mushroom City. Jesus Christ. Is it an allium? Whatever. Like, garlic tastes 100 different ways based on how you prepare it, and it's like the most basic bloody vegetable on the planet. Like, you can have it raw. I wouldn't, but you can have it raw, you could shave it, you can cut it, you can squish it, you can squash it, you can have it in a powder form, you can have it in a jar, you can cook it, you can bake it, you can roast it, you can do so much, and it all tastes so different. So I'd always recommend just trying out different things, experimenting. You know, don't look down on something as well if it's dried. I think I used to be wary if there was like a fresh alternative. I'd be wary to try the dried one, and that's just not the case. Especially with stuff like oregano. When it comes to like a pasta or a pizza base, IMHO, dried oregano tastes better than like fresh cut. I don't think that's a hot take. I think a lot of restaurants agree, and I don't think it's just laziness. Like, I think restaurants just think that the dried oregano makes the flavor profile that they actually want. So just give stuff a go, you know. If it's cheap, maybe it's just cheap, you know, maybe it's just a good deal. Like 3 clicks fillet, or 2 clicks, or 1 clicks, whatever. You know, he put out like a video the other day explaining about fish fingers or something, or fish sticks, if you'd like to call it that. And he was like, this is like the cheapest one, and it's cheap because the actual fish used in it is cheap. It's not that it's a lower quality or anything. Well, you know, depends on how you feel about it, but it's just cheap. Like, the product itself just costs less. It doesn't necessarily mean that they've stuffed it with, like, you know, wood shavings and bits of grass, you know. Something is just cheaper than another thing. Like, onions, they're amazing. You can cook them in 100,000 ways, and they're significantly cheaper than a fucking black truffle. I'll be honest, there'll be a lot of dishes where I'd much rather have an onion than a black truffle, despite the cost difference. Just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's better. And I think that's a good point to end it on. My throat's starting to dry up. I need to sit for a minute and work out how I'm going to edit this without an editor. There must be something. I'm sure there's some free software or something I can use. Ugh. Anyway, did you all enjoy the video today? Did it feel particularly different to the usual? Because it is different on my end. I forgot to mention it, but because this is a different computer, it's not going to have that issue where it randomly stops the audio. So that's kind of nice, actually, an improvement. Less frightening. Anyway, I'm going to head off for now. Please check out like Discord and stuff if you want to keep up with what I'm doing, where I'm going, and keep an eye out for that video that I'm sure I'll make explaining my travel plans, because that'll be exciting. But anyway, yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you all had a good time. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.